Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Writer's Room. I'm your host, Lightening Angelo. Tonight, she's back for part two. Noel Benson and this controversial little opus. It's called What Men Don't Know About Dating Is a Lot. And let me tell you something. We've had guests who have sparked attention on this show, and then we've had guests like Noel Benson, who is a lightning rod for attention. I will tell you, first of all, Noel, welcome back.
Thank you, Angelo. Thank you for inviting me back.
You're quite welcome. Actually, thanks, Stephen Plim, for you being here. He's the guy that's really responsible for. He's the one we should beat up. He's the guy we should get. No, for anything from my friend, Mr. Plim. Let's talk about this. I want to get right into this right from the get-go. By your own admission, you say that you have been on thousands of horrible dates. Now, that's a pretty big statement to make for somebody who doesn't look like she's past 60, okay? So to have all of these horrendous, horrific, catastrophic dates at such a young age, either you dated really bad guys or your choice in men stinks. So let's decide which is it first.
Well, so I started, let's be specific. It's online dating that we're addressing. That's what my book addresses. Online dating. So I've been online dating for almost 10 years. And I think I'm going to stick by my guns here. I think that men are not authentic in their profiles. And then they show up for the date, and they're not who they pretend to be when they're online.
Okay, and there are as many women doing that. Yes. You don't hear about that. Why the discrepancy? Why the double standard? Why the dichotomy?
No double standard. In your
opinion.
Listen, I think my next book is going to maybe be named What People Don't Know About Dating Is a Lot. I'm not going to discriminate, because the only reason I wrote a book about what men don't know about a lot is because that's who I date, men.
Well,
I can't speak to what
let's
women
talk
do.
about that, Noel. Let's talk about this at some length. A lot of the negative, and I've got some positive feedback on you, a lot of it, but I got some really harsh criticisms of your appearance. One woman, and I quote, one woman said, and I quote, Miss Benson treats men like mindless dickheads, unquote. That's a direct quote.
If the shoe fits, I'm not going to deny if the shoe fits, then, that's you get what you give.
Well, and you're not going to sell a lot of books with that attitude.
Listen, I'm responding to her comment, not my book. She might not be wrong.
Well, and by the same token, I have had people who say Noel Benson doesn't understand men, which is, I think, closer to the truth. If we're going to be completely candid here, let's be candid. Closer to the truth is, I really don't think you understand the mind of the male of the species.
I think you're right. I have no idea what the hell's going on inside those heads.
Okay, well, let's talk about it.
I would never show up to a date looking disheveled and having inappropriate conversation right out of the gate. I wouldn't do it. And what would possess a man to do that? So you're right. I have no idea what's in the heads of men when they.
Let's just assume for a minute that you work for a living. Let us also assume that you have dated men that are 9-to-5ers, okay? Mm-hmm. A lot of guys come home from work, 5 o'clock, eat something, grab something real quick, grab a shower, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, throw some clothes on, and go out on a date. Maybe they don't look the best. Perhaps they're not suit and tie worthy. That's okay. There are a lot of men who can't pull off the suit and tie. You're looking at one of them. I can't pull off a suit and tie.
Who needs to show up on a date in a suit and tie? They just need to look good with Hey, the first thing I said to you tonight when you came on air was, I like your shirt. You don't have to have a suit and tie to be on a date, for God's sakes.
Well, but there are people who are implying that your perception of looking good is, well groomed. Of course, we would hope one would be at least well groomed. But what if well groomed for that guy is an open collar shirt and a pair of jeans?
I think that's great.
Okay, so describe disheveled to me. Let us clarify.
So if the shirt, would it be ironed, or if there were stains all over it? Same with the pants. If they weren't ironed, or if they were dirty, maybe they had dog or cat hair all over them.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like my wardrobe. It sounds like my wardrobe. I have a dog, and there is hair everywhere. Let us talk about. There was something here struck me right away. I won't talk to you about it. By your own admission, I'm going to quote you. This is from page. This is how early in the book we're talking. Page 2. Mm-hmm. Page 2. And I quote, like Ruth in Ozark, I don't know shit about fuck. That's a quote. But I do know about dating. Trust me, with thousands of cringeworthy dates under my belt. This is Noel Benson speaking, so I need to know. Yeah, you have it too. Look,
I'm reading along with you.
Okay, so let's talk about these cringeworthy dates. You've had to have, among these self-professed thousands of cringeworthy dates, you've had to have one or two that are especially memorable. So let's get into story time with Noel here. Let's talk about some of your most egregious offenders on the dating scene.
Well, I can tell you there was one really cute guy, and he was, well groomed.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to be great. And I met him for dinner, and he kept going to the bathroom like first it was like once every 20 minutes. Then it got to be once every like 10 minutes. He came back. He had so much Coke caked around his nostril. And I should have noticed, because every time he came back from the bathroom, he was talking faster. He was talking louder. And, I'm thinking to myself, no, he's not.
So you dated a cokehead.
No, I didn't. Well, one day. So,
interesting.
I just think that that's absurd. And he's age appropriate. So this is a middle-aged man still acting like that. I don't get it. That goes back to what you said earlier about, I don't understand men.
Well, let's talk about that.
What would possess a man to do that?
Well, let's talk about it. There is something you may or may not be familiar with, particularly between the ages of 45 and 55 in men. It's called the Peter Pan syndrome. Are you familiar with that? You know what that is? Okay.
Of course.
I'm guessing, just a guesstimate, that this guy was probably around 54, 55 in that ballpark.
Let's say the date was 10 years ago. Then he would have been 48.
Okay, so right between, there you go.
Yeah.
Between 45 and 55. He falls right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my profile is exactly where he would expect to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had this, would you call it a horrific date, or was it just a bad date with Mr. Cokehead?
Bad, horrific.
Was it cringeworthy?
You choose the word. I wasn't happy about it.
Well, you're using words here. I'm going to call you out on your words. Mm-hmm. You say cringeworthy. Let's talk about what elevates someone to Hall of Fame status. What makes them cringeworthy?
I would say that guy. Wouldn't you? Don't you agree?
Well, I don't know. I didn't date him. I don't know.
I only had one date. Let's not get confused. I didn't date him. I had one date. He was one and done.
Well, it was a date is a date. I don't care if it's one date or many weeks worth of dates. It's a
Okay.
date.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fair.
If you want to pull semantics, you're with the king of semantics, kids. The other thing we want to talk about is why such a visceral response, in your opinion? Why are you getting such a visceral response from women? I would think women would be the first ones, Noel, to defend you and to jump on the Noel Benson bandwagon, but they surprisingly are not.
Well,
And I find
that's not accurate. I have
well, it's accurate in my realm. I can tell you that. The visceral response. Well, hear me out. You got to let me speak here. Because it's really important. The response that we're getting on this show from women is visceral to the point of I've had people wanting to come on this show and call you out. Well, now, I have one woman was supposed to be here. Luckily, her son got sick. Oh, so she had to take care. And I say luckily because she wanted to wring your neck. Here's my point. Hold on a minute.
For her.
Hold on a minute. Hang on. Here's the point I'm trying to make. Understand that kind of guttural reaction comes from somewhere. I'm not a woman. I don't get it. You're a woman. Fill me in. Where does that? Why? Why does it happen? Where does it come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Most of the response I have, the feedback I have is extremely positive and a lot of sisterhood and a lot of support.
What are women saying to you?
Pardon me?
What are women saying to you?
Oh, well, you should see my reviews. If you've gone online, you see my reviews. My book is hilarious. They can relate to it. They think that even married men could take the advice. Single men are saying that they've learned a lot. The women are saying it's funny. They're giving it to their sons. Even though it's not directed at that demographic, they're going to give it to their sons. But
demographic, can we talk about that in a minute? I want to talk about that. Sure. The demographic is anybody 18 or up.
No, the demographic of my book says is 40 to 75.
You may have had that in mind when you wrote this, but I will tell you point blank, if I picked up this book at 18 years of age, there's something in there I can glean from it.
Oh, good.
The first thing I'm going to glean is take this book and use it for firewood.
Well,
because it doesn't speak to the heart of what a relationship is. You said by your own admission that this book was to propel people to help get them married. You said that
you're missing
yesterday
the point
to me.
Of this book. This is a post-pandemic dating guide for men who are now online. And you were reading from page 2. Let's go up a couple paragraphs.
Good.
This book is supposed to help men. I'm advocating for men because they have fallen behind. They're not relevant. So on page 2, the first paragraph says, 2020 woke us up to introspect and reflect.
You realize what you just did? Do you realize what you just did? Because I'm going to call you out on it. This is not going to be a fluff interview. You've had fluff interviews. I've seen them. They're very Noel friendly. This will not be that interview.
Oh, well, they never are.
This is a hardball interview. You just took the entire male species and threw them under the collective fucking bus. You realize what you've just done.
Thank you for that. Can I finish?
No, I want you to explain why you threw the entire species under the bus.
This book is for men who want to find a real relationship post-pandemic.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they find themselves single, whether they didn't survive lockdown, they could be widowed, but they're just out of touch because they haven't dated for decades. And now the way to date is online.
Okay. Let me remind you, Noel Benson, that women likewise have been locked up in lockdown in a pandemic for as long as the men. What makes the women of the species different or more akin to accepting change than men? You basically say men are not capable of change.
Not capable. They're just not thinking about it like women. You know, women always want to go out shopping on a Saturday afternoon. And so if you're out shopping, you see the fashion, you know what's out there.
Have you met my wife?
No, I have not.
Have you met my wife?
No. Does she not like to shop?
My wife would tear that to shreds. Let me tell you. Be thankful she's not around right now. Because she would rip you to shreds. So I will say this, understand something. And there is validity to what you say. I'm not totally going to bash you here, because I'm not going to do that.
You are right now.
I'm not going to bash you, but there is something to be gleaned here. What's to be gleaned is be careful where you get your advice from and who you take your advice from. I'm not saying that you did a bad job compiling your data. The data is fluctuable. It is not accurate. It's accurate for the pandemic. I will say that. It's not accurate.
What this book is about. Post-pandemic dating.
Okay, well, I'll be honest with you. You and I talked about this before. Chapter 15. Dick pics, okay? I haven't heard the term dick pics used in 15 years. Okay? But it exists in the vocabulary of Noel Benson. That's just, I got a laugh out of it because it's been so long since I heard that term.
Well, because you haven't been online dating.
One of the big things you talk about. Conversation. Conversation, the ability to have dialogue. Men and women together to converse, to have this, verbal repartee. Why are, in your opinion, women better conversationalists?
I'm not saying women are better conversationalists. I'm giving direction to men to help them. I think you're very confused.
You're saying they're stupid, is what you're saying, that men are basically dumb fucks.
I'm saying that they could brush up on their skills, is what I'm saying.
Can I ask you a question? I have a question for you.
Sure.
And this is a serious question. I have a serious question for you. And I'm not being facetious.
Good.
Did you go to a school of etiquette?
No.
And I'm not being facetious.
No.
Okay. Did you go to boarding school?
No.
Are you of the 6-figure caliber and above?
Yes.
Okay. There's the breakaway right there. You can't relate to blue collar people. You can't.
Who said that this book is for blue collar? This book is for everybody. This book is for everybody.
You're writing this book and liking it to a blue collar handbook for dumb white men who don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No,
and people are offended by your book.
For white men, for brown men. I was just having a conversation with someone at the gym the other day.
I'm not backing down from here, and I'm going to push this issue, and I'm going to make an issue of it if I have to. This book has got it. It's really garnered and gutted an audience of mine that's divided between their likability for some of the things you have to say, and there are some likable things in here, but a lot of the women, and I'm talking about, I'm not even addressed the men yet. I'm speaking just about the women that I've gotten response from. They want to jump your bones and beat you to a pulp.
Well, what woman would even want to fight? That is just, that's not acceptable behavior in society. You don't put your hands on another person. You could be arrested for that.
Oh my God. I got to tell you something. You really, perhaps you need to come out and smell the blue collar air. I mean that because you're living in a bubble You really are.
Maybe you are, and maybe your women are.
Let me tell you something. My bubble is red, white, and blue, kid. I got news for you.
So is mine.
Understand. Let's talk about cancel culture. Because that irked me. Why even the need to include cancel culture in a book about what men don't know about dating?
Confidence is really sexy. If you're going to make a date, keep it. Okay? Don't cancel at the last minute and make up some lame excuse just because you're not feeling confident. I mean, there are real situations. In my book, it says that a friend of mine canceled.
I know exactly what your book says. I've probably read this thing 5 times. So, page cover to cover.
Confidence is sexy. If you're confident enough to make the date, keep the date. It's like that Seinfeld episode. You can make the date.
Yeah.
You can't keep the date.
You ever heard the expression, Noel, that shit happens? Shit happens, kid. Sometimes you get ready for a date and I've had it happen to me. Last minute, something come up. Gotta call the woman up. Sorry, can't make it. Gotta go.
What about
it happens?
What about in that chapter?
And you go with it, and you go with the flow. And
what
that's
about
what you do.
In that chapter, the guy that called me before the date and said, "I think we're getting ahead of ourselves."
Well, perhaps you were getting ahead of it.
I didn't ask him out for the date. He asked me out for the date.
That has no. Oh, whoa, back up, there, woman. Let's talk about this. Asking someone out on a date does not mean you assume responsibility for the date. It just means that you have enough interest. No, it doesn't. It means you just have enough interest in that person to want to date them for a night or a week or a few hours or whatever the case may be. Understand something, and understand this if you're able to, and I hope to God you're able to. Shit happens. Things come up. It doesn't mean that person is lacking confidence. It means something came the fuck up. Okay?
I think it can be both. I don't think it has to be one or the other.
But they're not mutually exclusive, Noel. Do you understand that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What?
They're not mutually exclusive.
I don't think it's a bifurcated situation.
Okay. Moving on. God. You know, you have you've been very fortunate because you've had softball interviews. Why does a venue make the difference between whether a date is successful or not?
Well, especially post-pandemic, I think people are still being very cautious.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not comfortable going out to a restaurant or a concert or even a ball game. So at this point of time, which is historical, I think the venue's very important because you want both parties to feel safe. So at this pivotal point in world history during a public health crisis, the venue has to be agreed upon and everyone has to feel safe.
Interesting stuff. I think it's a lot of hogwash. I think it's a lot of double talk. I don't think a venue makes any damn bit of difference whatsoever. Doesn't matter whether it's a 5-star restaurant, a 2-star restaurant, a baseball game, a sporting event. It doesn't really matter where the venue is or how far removed from civilization it is. If there are two people willing to converse and go that route, why the hell not? But apparently,
well, that's where video chatting comes in because we're talking really. I'm gaining more and more insight into your perspective. This is a book about making real connections. If people are really interested in making real connections, and especially during this, like I said, this historical time.
Yeah.
We should have learned what's important. And if people are really interested in connecting in the online dating culture, then they have to be authentic. So you're right.
There's the dichotomy, though, Noel.
But everyone needs to be comfortable with the situation.
That's the problem. You entered here one element that throws everything else out of balance.
What's
when
that?
you say online dating.
Mm-hmm.
Now, understand something. People are visceral, they're guttural, they're instinctive, they're primal. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
People want to be with other people. Men want to be with women. Women want to be with men. In the cases where they are of the same sexual like-mindedness. However, I think that you're limiting yourself and you're limiting your audience and you're limiting an entire population of humanity when you say online. This book is far more. I read more into. I'm giving you credit, but you're not accepting my credit.
Don't. This is a dating preparedness guide.
It's not. It's bullshit. It's a horrible book.
No, really.
It's a horrible book for preparing a date. It's awful. Because you're basically saying, men, you don't know shit about dating, and mommy here is going to teach you how to date.
Well, I'm certainly sorry that you're offended by the advice.
I'm not offended by the advice. I'm offended that you took the entire male of the species and threw us under a collective bus. That offends me.
Okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion. But let me ask you this. You said you met your wife online, right?
Yes, we did.
So when you met her, you had to create a profile, right?
I did. My real picture. This is it, baby. This is my face.
So, and you've been with your wife for how long?
10 years.
Okay, so back it up, let's say 11 or 12 years, because you were meeting and you had to date before you got married. So when you went online, you posted current pictures of yourself. You didn't post pictures from your glory days of high school.
I had no glory days of high school. High school sucked for me, okay? And I hated high school.
Well, you didn't post inauthentic photos. You posted 100% authentic photos. When you described yourself, did you describe yourself in a
accurately to a T, 100%?
Okay, you did all the right things. There is a humongous community of men who do the opposite. They do post pictures of their glory days when they were much thinner, when they had hair, and then they show up on a date and they're much heavier and they have no hair.
Let me tell you about a date that I had, Noel.
That are going on. I'm specifically addressing this community of online men in the dating.
I want to tell you about a date that I had.
Who are not authentic.
Mm-hmm. I want to tell you about a date that I had.
Oh, no.
This woman had a profile picture that looked like she just stepped out of Vogue. All right?
Wow. Yeah.
We had a little conversation for like a half a day. So we met. When I showed up, I was greeted by a building with a head. Okay.
Can you believe that?
She was every bit of 400 pounds. She had more hair on her face than I did. She had one eye going east, one eye going west. And I was scared. And I'm not a guy that's afraid of anything. That scared the shit out of me.
And that's so not cool. She
had one eye going in each direction.
Yeah, but
she looked like King Kong's mother.
She put you in a very precarious situation because
I got the fuck out of here real quick.
Yeah, you expected to see this beautiful woman, and like you said, a gargoyle shows up. That is unacceptable.
Hey, I got news for you. A gargoyle would have been better.
That is unacceptable. And if you've listened to other podcasts,
Baby King Kong showed up.
That I tell stories that I have guy buddies who have had similar incidents. That is
Mrs. Kong showed up. Holy crap.
That is unacceptable. And that's why I said maybe my next book needs to be what humans don't know about dating is a lot. That is so
May
not.
I suggest something? And I'm being totally serious. May I suggest something for your next book, if there is a next book? The whole notion of compatibility. Meeting someone that's compatible with you. What to look for. You want to start a book. That's the book to start with. Okay.
Well,
I just gave you the next
chapters
idea.
at the end of this book talking about choosing, about a man has to choose what he wants and be comfortable with himself and know
and
what.
Likewise, so do women.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
But why is little to no attention being paid to that?
Because
and why are we not garnering anything from it?
Because I don't date women. I'm not a subject matter expert on dating women. I can't write a book about women if I don't date them.
You don't have to date women to understand. You are a female. Your mindset should tell you everything you need to know.
This
and
is
if that's
book
the problem, which I think that might be the problem,
about dating men online. That's what this book is about. You're kind of.
This is a hot button book, ladies and gentlemen. The book, What Men Don't Know About Dating, is a lot. The author is the enigmatic Noel Benson. Thank you, Stephen Plim. By the way, Stephen Plim's tried to call me 4 times since we've been on the air. He has. He's tried to call me 4 times. Let me see if.
How do you know it's
we might be able to get him on the phone here. Hold on a minute.
How do you know it's Plim? His name pops up?
Yeah, it's popping up here. I want to get Steve Plim on the phone. You want to? Are you game for this?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Let's get him on the phone here. Break his stones.
I love Steve Plim.
He's a character, is he not?
Yes, that's what I love about him. He is so. Now, there's a man that's authentic. He will tell you the truth 100%. He is so funny.
Mr. Plim.
Are you kidding me? I'm so sorry.
Mr. Plim, how are you?
Well, I'm better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. I couldn't find the number. Are you guys online?
We are on the air.
Hey, Steve.
We are live on the radio, Stephen.
Am I on the radio right now?
You are on the radio right
now. Okay. I want to apologize. I lost the number. I don't have Alzheimer's. I told Noel I have Halfsimer's. I only remember half of the shit that I say and do. No, I couldn't wait to call in, and I'm sitting here on my veranda in Des Moines, Iowa, God's country, and I'm going, I got to call in. I want to talk to Noel and you, and I can't get it, so I just put every number in the book I could. Hi, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great, Steve.
I just said, I said, Steve Plim. We were just talking about Stephen Plim, and I said, you're never going to believe it. Stephen Plim just tried calling in like 4 times over here. Let's give him a call. Let's call him back.
Thank you. The IRS the IRS does that often with me. So,
Stephen, let me ask you a question. We are having a heated discussion, and actually a very good discussion, a revealing discussion about Noel's book. I have a question for you. You're a guy that's, in your heyday has dated a more than a few women. Okay. Would you say, and be honest, if you throw the male species under the bus, I'll accept it because it comes from you. But let me ask you a question.
Okay.
And this is a serious question. Are men dumb fucks when it comes to dating, or are we just taking our advice from the wrong people?
Oh, that's too loaded of a question, Angelo. God damn it. You're putting me on the line now. Quit it.
Absolutely, I am.
It could go either way.
Okay.
You got great gals out there. You got great guys out there. But I will say this, okay? Most guys have one thing in mind, and you know that.
This is true. But what about guys like me who want to get married and want to fall in love and are not afraid of commitment? I've been married 4 times, and God knows I'm not afraid of commitment.
You know what?
And my wife is
Angelo,
shaking.
Angelo DeCipio, you are stealing my line. I have been married 5 times. My moniker, right, is people go, Steve, how come you've been married 5 times? I said, I'm not afraid of commitment.
I'm not afraid of commitment. Absolutely.
Angelo,
Pleasure.
you
Hey,
don't.
Noel, he's stealing from me.
You know what, Angelo? You don't need my book. Everything you say is on point. You get it. You know about authenticity. You know about making connections. I'm telling you, just because you get it doesn't mean the rest of the
Well,
world does.
here's my point though, and I really wish you would understand what I'm doing here. And I'm not putting the book down. I'm really not. I'm actually giving you credit for this book. The only thing I'm distinguishing between is that while it is true that you wrote the book for the post-pandemic world, the online world, this book is as viable in the dating world sans online than it is anywhere else. That's what I was trying to tell you, and you wouldn't accept that.
I'm going to interject here right now.
Please do, Stephen.
I love both of you. Okay, I think her book is right on, and I have grown to love her as a person, and she's a great artist. Okay, and of course you know that I love you. You are, the power of the day, Wolfman Jack, look, voice, new Johnny Carson for the new millennium. I get that. See, this is why it's great to meet you both. Well, I met you a year ago, but I just met her 3 or 4 months ago. I love you both, and you both have great things to say. And I told Noel, he's the greatest interviewer that I've ever seen, and I've been with everybody. Carson, Merv Griffin. I mean, I could name drop all day long, okay? But
yeah,
Scipio, and I told him this, and it's no blowing smoke up his ass. I told him this privately and on the air. He is the new thing with this podcast thing, this technology. This is like, remember when we only had 3 TV stations, ABC, CBS, and NBC? Mm-hmm. And then we went into internet, okay, and all that. It just keeps progressing. DeCipio is the new, I'm quoting it, Johnny Carson of our day. And it's wonderful. He's a great interviewer. He cares.
Thank you, Stephen.
Does he challenge you? Yes. But that's why he's a great interviewer.
And I get a little hot-headed sometimes. I'm Italian. I can't help it.
Well, oh, my God. You sound like Andrew Cuomo. Don't say that. I'm Italian. I can't help it.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're going to compare me to Andrew Cuomo, we're going to fight, lady.
No, just what you said. Because he said that, remember?
Well, to Stephen's point, I am the love child of Johnny Carson and Wolfman Jack. So
am I. I mean, that's my heroes, man. You know that. I've told you that.
I hear you. Absolutely.
And I don't need to say it. People know it. Either.
Well, let's talk about Stephen.
They know it either actually or subliminally. Okay.
Yeah.
You got the Wolfman Jack voice. You have the Wolfman Jack look.
Does.
And the talent.
Scary,
to interview. The talent to interview people, no matter who they are.
Thank you, Stephen. So you kind of being the promoter and the suave speaker you are, you completely avoided that question. I'm going to ask you again because I've not forgotten. So, you've dated a lot of people in your time, especially in the industry. Do men need a refresher course, or do women just have to be patient and understand the male mind?
Oh, what a loaded question. Okay. I mean,
that's my job. It's what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. Off the cuff, I'm going to answer your question. Okay.
Go ahead.
Men and women need the same thing. Men are different than women. Women, of course, are different than men. But we all need love, affection. We're all looking for the same thing.
Yep.
A commitment that is real. Okay. And it's rare. Look at the stats. 60% of married couples by the 7th year divorce. Okay?
Yeah.
That's a stat. I didn't make that up. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's what I'm going to tell you and your listeners, okay? And a guy told me this, and man, I think he's right. Now watch this. It's a little gross, but okay, here it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Show me a great-looking woman, like a 10. She's absolutely beautiful, okay? And she's been married for 10 years. I'll show you a guy that's tired of fucking her. That is what this guy did. And you know what? I believe it. Because it all gets old. It all gets old. We're bad.
Can I blow that theory out of the water? I will tell you, my wife, bless her heart, my wife is a 10.
I didn't mean 100%. I'm saying in general.
Well, I'm going to tell you. I want to tell you what the secret is. I'm going to help educate the masses here. Because what the heck? I got Noel's book. I may as well help, sell a few copies. My wife is a 10. She's so good, she's a 20, all right? She's twice as good. Here's the thing about my wife. We talk.
Mm-hmm.
We communicate. We don't keep anything from each other. We're open. We're honest. We put everything on the table, and then we deal with it.
You are so lucky.
You have no idea. I'm more than lucky. I'm very blessed.
I was just going to say, you are blessed. And you are a small percentage. So many people who meet online do not end up like you and your wife. You are both so very blessed.
And it's interesting.
And it stems from what you said, authenticity. Sure. You put everything out on the table and you communicate. You have to initiate that from the beginning when you're in online dating. Yeah. You can't post fake pictures. You can't pretend to be someone you're not. This is bullshit. And it's online dating. It's a standard operating procedure, an online dating, and it needs to stop.
I'm going to share with...
I'm interjecting here.
Go ahead, Steven.
I think Angelo DeCipio is one of those lucky guys, in quotes, lucky guys that met a girl and did it like this. They've been married and they're happy. Okay.
Yes.
Here's what I'm referring to. So many people don't do that. So many people are not blessed like Angelo. Okay. That's just a fact.
Here, Steven, when I explain this, you'll understand why we've been together so long. Okay. I put my actual real photo on my profile for this website. By the way, Noel, I was only on that site for 3 days. Okay. She was the third person I met on the third day. All right.
Sure. When did you meet the gargoyle?
Oh no, that was way before I went online. Oh, that was another site called Zoosk.
Yeah, I've been on Zoosk.
We met on a site called Plenty of Fish.
Yeah.
And I should have known because Zoosk had the word zoo in it, and she certainly looks like she came from the zoo. But my wife and I met online, as I said, but when we finally met in person, I was wearing a Santa Claus costume, standing at the sidewalk of my street. She pulled up and burst out laughing. That was our introduction to each other. And we spent the rest of the night talking and eating.
Oh, well, in the last podcast, you said you did other things on your first date.
Well, of course we did later that evening. Okay. But we spoke and talked for several hours.
Do you know how unique that is and how special that is? And that's because you both come from a place of realism. You were being real. And that's what my book is about. Yeah. Authenticity from inside out. Just be real.
I have to agree with her. I have to agree with her. You're the anomaly. You're the anomaly, not the normal. Yeah. And God bless you.
Right?
You know what Noelle is writing about is not the regular, and she's trying to, make people hip and help people. Okay. You're the anomaly and it worked for you, and God bless. It's wonderful. You know? But here I go back to her book.
Right.
Promote. Okay. I met you about a year ago or something. Okay. I think you're the shit. I think you're the shits. Okay. I met Noelle maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Noel, 2 months, 3 months ago?
2 or 3 months ago. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And I want to say this, okay? Are we live? Everything good? I hope
we are live. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Angelo DeCipio, and I've been around the block. I'm not going to name drop, but I will. I've been with Sinatra, this, for 35 years, okay? Vegas, Atlantic City, Japan, all the shit. I've had so many stars, more stars than I got pubic hairs on my body, okay? So I have a way of disseminating who's real and who's not, okay?
Yeah.
When I met Angelo DeCipio, and I hope it's only over the phone, but we've had a million conversations. I love this guy. He knows where it's at. He knows what to do. He knows the in and out and the little intricacies of show business that most people do not know. He can handle and help anybody's career if he chooses to do so. I love
And I have a very loyal audience. Thank you.
What?
And I have a very loyal audience.
Yes, you do. And I'm one of them. You know, I'm an audience of you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was on your show, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and you're coming back.
Yeah, I'm still here. No.
Yeah, you come. Oh, listen, that reminds me. When we finish up, which we will be doing in about 2 minutes, stay on the phone with me, Stephen, because I want to talk to you for a moment.
Yeah.
All
okay.
right. Let me just tell everybody once again the book. Hold on, Stephen. I'm going to do Noel's plug, and we're going to do her social media. The book, whatever. What men? Oh, here you go. I'm sorry. I was getting ready to make my title.
I want to put in a giant.
What men don't know about dating is a lot. The author is Noel Benson. She's a local lady from Pennsylvania. You're from Philadelphia, Noel? Is that where you're at?
I was raised in the Lehigh Valley.
No,
Lehigh.
I have an exclusive.
Oh, yeah. Money territory.
If everybody will be quiet, I have an exclusive scene here for
Go
your
ahead.
show. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. We are going to do a gigantic marketing plan on your guest right now. Okay. And I'm telling you this nationally. Stern, I talked to Stern, said, well, let me do it. I said, no, fuck you. I didn't say fuck you, but I said, no, affiliation with you. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a very exciting new
Where'd you go?
Hello, Stephen.
Oh my God, what a cliffhanger.
Are you shitting me? Oh, I got to get him on. Noel, go ahead and plug your social media. Plug the book.
Okay, well, I'm on Facebook, Noel Benson. I'm on Instagram, NW Benson. I'm on LinkedIn, of course, Noel Benson.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can, and a lot since the publication of my book, a lot of men have been sliding into my DMs, so I can be reached easily through DMs and PMs. It's not difficult to do, and I'm always accessible, and I'm always, as I say in my book, conversating with those people who reach out to me.
I actually had one woman say to me, she wrote this book so she could get a date. I went, you might be more right than you know.
Well, that hasn't worked.
I'll tell you what. We whenever Stephen Plim comes in, and
that's such a cliffhanger. I know what he's going to say, but I think I don't want to steal his thunder. He wants to say it.
But we're going to find out in a moment. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are up against the clock. Noel, I gotta go. We are up against the hard clock. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Join us Thursday when Mr. Entertainment himself, Eddie Mansfield, the Continental Lover, will join us. Take care, everyone.